Guys, today we are going to talk about asexual and sexual reproduction. So go ahead and get out your notes and let's go ahead and get started. Um, Asexual reproduction, it says, requires only one parent and the offspring are an exact copy of the parent. So it's a clone, so it's identical to the parent. Um, they cannot develop much variety, unlike the project that we just did. We know that all of us had lots of different traits and we had a lot of different combinations and a lot of different alleles. Asexual reproduction, it's going to be that exact clone because they are copying the original organism exactly. Types of reproduction. One of the ways that they can reproduce is binary fission. So binary fission is single-celled, can't type today, sorry. Single-celled organisms will divide into two equal halves. When conditions are good, which means there's lots of water, food, right temperature, etc., binary fission is a very effective way of producing many offspring. And I would love to give you guys examples of lots of different animals that have each of these types of reproduction. However, that's what the baby project is all about. So you guys are going to be researching that within the next couple of days. All right, another type of sexual reproduction is budding. Budding here is an offspring grows out of the body of a parent. So in this particular method, it literally is all in one and it separates from the parents. So in yeast, the cell does not divide equally into two halves. Instead, there is a large mother and a smaller daughter cell. So it's all in one there. Wow, I can't spell today. A smaller daughter cell. Okay, fragmentation. The body of the parent breaks into distinct pieces, each of which can produce an offspring. So this is where they're actually breaking down, and then each of those pieces can make a different offspring. Okay, some plants can grow from cutting them and replanting them. Offspring may be produced by runners, rhizomes, or tubers. Now, I do have a good example of fragmentation right now in my backyard. So my neighbor has lots of these little, I don't know that you can really call them trees, but I'm going to call them trees. And they're just like long sticks that come up, and essentially they are everywhere in her backyard right now. When we were doing yard work last weekend, I went to like the corner of my backyard and I looked down and I see all sorts of little, about 4 inches maybe, of these hard little stick things. And we were trying to figure out what they were. Well, we pulled one up because we didn't know if they were weeds or what was really going on. And sorry, Joe Marino just walked in. Everybody say hi, Joe. Hi, Joe. I forgot where I was. So if I repeat anything, I apologize. Okay, so we dug those up to see, if they were just weeds or if they were trees or what had happened. But these actual trees had spread so much across not only her backyard, but now we have probably about 100 little trees trying to grow in the corner of our backyard. So we actually have to go and we actually have to dig them up in order for them to actually stop growing, or else we're going to have that whole section of our backyard covered in these little trees and we don't want them. So great example of fragmentation there as well. Okay, going on to the next one here. Parthenogenesis. Females produce eggs that develop without fertilization. This occurs naturally in some invertebrates, several fish, amphibians, and reptiles. Fish, amphibians, and reptiles, as well as plants. There are no known cases for mammals. So we believe more of our fish and amphibians, you can kind of think of our earlier sources of life are the ones who are actually going through parthenogenesis. There are no cases of mammals. All right, sexual reproduction. This is the reproduction style that you are probably most comfortable with. Maybe not talking about with your teachers, like some of you are super embarrassed and still giggle about, but this is the one that we understand very easily. So this requires two parents, male and female, or an egg and a sperm. The egg and the sperm zygote join. I don't like this. That should be flip-flopped, but that's okay. To form an entirely new organism. Okay, offspring are different from the parent organism because, as you guys saw yesterday, as you finished up your Punnett squares, they are different. There are different combinations of alleles. So some of you got big R all the way across. Some of you got big R, or little r. We have lots of different combinations, especially when we get to more of those complicated Punnett squares like you did yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this. All right, types of sexual reproduction. Pollination. Pollen is produced in the male organs of flowers, which are our anthers. And pollination occurs when pollen is transferred from the anthers to the female organs by wind or by animals. So this is what we were kind of talking about when we talked about Mendel and how he cross-pollinated them as well. So if the female stigma is receptive to a pollen grain, the pollen produces a pollen tube, which grows to the female tissue, to the egg, where fertilization takes place by the sperm nucleus. So even though this isn't the traditional egg and sperm combination that you all are often thinking of, this is still sexual reproduction. Takes place. Okay, external fertilization requires a medium such as water, which the sperm can use to swim towards the egg cell. Excuse me. This usually occurs in things like fish and amphibians. Think of your animals that are found in water. Fish and amphibians. Wow. Can't spell today. I don't know why I did that. Okay. Where am I at? The females lay the eggs in water, and these males squirts the sperm in the same area. So this is all that transfer of water. Again, this is crossing over that medium of the water, and our female is going to lay the eggs in the water, and then the male sperm is going to attach, and that's where our reproduction starts. My room is a happening place this morning. I have 5 kiddos in here, so sorry about this, guys. Okay, internal fertilization. Fertilization occurs within the female. So we still have our female. This occurs in mammals, insects, birds, and reptiles. Mammals, birds, insects, and reptiles. Okay, mammals have live births where insects, birds, and reptiles are going to lay eggs. Okay, the last two things on here. Sexual reproduction produces a greater chance of that variety or all of those different alleles, whereas your asexual reproduction, remember, they're the exact clone of the parents. Um, the variation improves the chances that a species will adapt to its environment and survive. So things like mammals, things like birds, insects, reptiles, they have all of the possible needs of adaptation because they have all of those different alleles. They can change over time and be able to survive within an environment to adapt to their surroundings. Okay, that's it for today. If you are finished, the things that I should see you working on is your Punnett Square practice um, worksheet, your Face the Genetic Facts. And if that project is complete, if you want me to look over it to make sure it looks like you would be earning the 10 assessment points, I'm happy to do that. If you have any missing work, that should be the next thing, because as a reminder, if you have more than 2 missing assignments, you will not be going to tomorrow's assembly because you are missing out on that core value expectation of responsibility. So please make sure, and high expectations, excuse me. Please make sure that you guys get caught up. We want everybody to join us in the Fun Assembly tomorrow. All right, guys, have a great day.